Hello, future economic superstars. Every day you're faced with choices: chai or coffee, movie or homework, spend or save. Each decision is about getting the most happiness from your limited time and money. This is the essence of consumer theory, understanding why we choose one thing over another. In economics, these choices help us see how markets work and how businesses and governments make decisions. You, the consumer, are the hero of this story. Your choices drive the plot. Imagine you're at a food court with only 100 rupees. Pizza or mango lassi. You want both but can't afford it all. So you weigh your options. How much happiness does each give you? Can you get a smaller pizza and still have the drink? This mental calculation is something we all do, trying to get the best value for our resources. Today, we'll give this everyday drama a structure, learning the tools economists use to analyze these situations. By the end, you'll see your daily decisions in a whole new light. You'll understand the invisible forces guiding your choices. Get ready for your starring role. The show is about to begin. Let's talk about utility, economics' word for satisfaction or happiness. Economists once tried to measure happiness with numbers: 10 units for chocolate, 5 for apples. But that's not realistic. Enter ordinal utility. Instead of measuring, we simply rank our preferences. You don't need to know how much more you like pizza than burgers, just that you prefer one over the other. This is how we actually make choices, by ranking, not measuring. For example, you might prefer comedy over thriller, and thriller over documentary. That's ordinal utility in action. This shift from measuring to ranking made consumer theory more realistic and powerful. It recognizes that we're not calculators, but people with preferences. This approach helps us understand consumer decisions without needing to quantify feelings. It's a simple solution to a complex problem, and it sets the stage for our next big idea, the indifference curve. Let's see how it maps our preferences. How do we show our ranked preferences visually? Enter the indifference curve, a graph showing combinations of two goods that give you the same satisfaction. Imagine choosing between pizza and cola. An indifference curve shows all the pairings that make you equally happy. For example, 1 slice of pizza and 8 colas, or 2 slices and 5 colas. If both are on the same curve, you're equally satisfied. The curve is bowed inward because of the law of diminishing marginal rate of substitution, MRS. Misses is the rate at which you're willing to give up one good for another while staying equally happy. As you get more pizza, you're willing to give up less cola for another slice. That's why the curve bends. The indifference curve is your personal happiness map. It shows the trade-offs you're willing to make, and it's the foundation for understanding real-world choices. Next, let's see what limits these choices. Indifference curves show what you want, but reality sets limits. Your budget. The budget line represents all the combinations of two goods you can afford, given your income and prices. It's your financial boundary. Back to pizza and cola. With 100 rupees, pizza at 20, cola at 10, you could buy 5 pizzas and no cola, or 10 colas and no pizza. Any point on the line is affordable. Anything outside is not. The slope of the budget line shows the price ratio, how many colas you must give up for one pizza. Now, you have two key tools: indifference curves, your wants, and the budget line, your limits. The real magic happens when these two meet. Where your desires and your budget intersect is where you make your final choice. This is the heart of consumer decision-making. It's about maximizing happiness within your means. The next step, finding the perfect balance. That's the climax of our economic drama. Let's see how it works. On to consumer equilibrium. Consumer equilibrium is where you get the most satisfaction possible within your budget. On a graph, it's where your budget line just touches the highest indifference curve you can reach. At this point, the slope of the indifference curve, your trade-off rate, equals the slope of the budget line, the market's trade-off rate. If your willingness to trade cola for pizza is higher than the market's rate, you'll buy more pizza until you reach equilibrium. At equilibrium, you have no incentive to change your combination. You've spent your budget in the most satisfying way. This is the peak of rational consumer behavior. It's the perfect mix of what you want and what you can afford. Every other point gives you less happiness. That's the power of consumer equilibrium. Now let's see this in action at the mall. You use this logic every time you shop. Suppose you have 2,000 rupees for jeans and t-shirts. Jeans cost 1,200, t-shirts 400. You could buy one pair of jeans and 2 t-shirts, or 5 t-shirts and no jeans. These options form your budget line. Your preferences shape your indifference curves. If you love jeans, you'll trade many t-shirts for one pair. If you prefer variety, you'll buy more t-shirts. Each person's choices are different because their preferences are different. You mentally weigh trade-offs: expensive jeans and one t-shirt, or cheaper jeans and more t-shirts. You move along your budget line, searching for the combination that lands on your highest indifference curve. When you decide, you've found your consumer equilibrium, maximum satisfaction within your budget. This logic applies to food orders, holiday planning, and more. In every case, you're balancing desires and limits. You're maximizing happiness with what you have. That's the real-world power of this theory. We've explored how consumer theory explains everyday choices and maximizes happiness. Indifference curves and budget lines give us a clear, logical way to understand human behavior. The theory respects our unique preferences and real-world constraints. It shows how we reach rational outcomes, consumer equilibrium, without needing to measure happiness. This concept is a foundation for understanding demand, pricing, and policy. Businesses use it to set prices. Policymakers use it to predict impacts. Mastering this is like learning a key acting technique. It unlocks deeper economic understanding. Ultimately, it empowers you to be a smarter, more conscious consumer. Your choices have structure and logic. You're the director of your own economic story. Take a bow. You've mastered one of economics' most elegant theories.